Now, on November 11th of 1858, so at the age of 26, he's hired as president of Hiram College. Now, on November 11th of 1858, he marries Lucretia Randolph. Lucretia Randolph, who is the daughter of an Ohio farmer. Lucretia, yeah, it's on here. It's not spelled like it sounds so much, but so on November 11th of 1858, Garfield marries Lucretia Randolph, who is the daughter of an Ohio farmer. And they eventually have 7 children, although 2 of them die as infants. So the 2 end up marrying, they end up having 2 children, or 7, excuse me, and 2 of them end up dying as infants. Now it's kind of interesting because one of his sons, Harry, became president of Williams College later in life. I thought that was always interesting. So one of his sons, Harry Garfield, ended up becoming president of Williams College. It's kind of interesting too because he had another son, James Garfield Jr., who served as Secretary of the Interior under President Theodore Roosevelt. So his kids, a couple of his kids did some pretty good things. So his one son, Harry Garfield, became president of Williams College. The other one, James Garfield Jr., eventually became Interior Secretary under President Theodore Roosevelt later. We'll talk about that. Well, this is 1858 when he gets married. What's coming up here pretty quick? And we talked about 1860. Civil War. So, like everybody else, he serves in the Civil War, North or South, and has served for the North. He advances very quickly in the Civil War, and by the time it's over, he leaves with the rank of Major General. So he did well in the war. Okay? So, President Garfield served in the Civil War. He advanced very quickly in the Civil War, and he left the military with the rank of Major General. When he got out of the war, what did he do? Went into politics. Very good. Now this is interesting. I'm going to see if you can pick this up. Now, have you ever heard of Mike Greer, who's a senator from this area? He's a state legislator. So that's what I'm talking about here. First political position that Garfield held is he was elected to the Ohio State Senate in 1859. And then he was elected to the House of Representatives in 1862. Senate, 1859, House, 1862. What's weird about that? No?
So he was in the House before that. He was in the House before that.
Yes, but what's the weird thing about him being elected in those 2 years? No. What was going on in that period of time? During the war. He was elected to both the Senate and the House during the Civil War.
So they actually pulled him out of service to serve in our house.
Yeah. Yeah. Shh, you two. What do you need? I don't want to, I'm talking. That's how it works. You might have. So as noted during the conversation between the knuckleheads, Garfield was elected in both elections despite the fact he was still serving in the Army during the Civil War. Now, he will win an election to the House. He'll be re-elected to the House 8 times and eventually be elected as a United States Senator, not a state senator, like Mike Greer, but the big guy, okay? So he's a very good politician. He would be reelected to the House 8 times, and he will be elected a United States Senator as well. Now, if he was a senator, think about this, if he was a senator like in 1866-ish, what big trial might have he voted in?
That, what? I paid for
Huh? What was the big trial about that time, right after the Civil War?
Electoral Commission.
What?
The Electoral Commission.
No, not that one.
No, the one.
There was a big trial that the Senate had to make a decision on. A poor guy named Edmund G. Ross lost his whole career on that.
Wasn't it like the one?
There you go. Remember the impeachment trial of Johnson? When all the senators voted, it came down to Edmund Ross? Well, just so you know, Garfield was involved in that impeachment trial, and how did he vote? Guilty. He voted guilty on President Johnson. I didn't have enough, yep.
So, if his family did all the stuff they did and what he did with war everything, how was he the dark horse?
He just wasn't well known. Not in national politics, anyway. So he votes against Johnson in that particular impeachment trial. Well, on July 2nd of 1881, while he's president, he was scheduled to attend the 25th class reunion from his graduating class at Williams College. Okay? On July 2nd of 1881, he was going to go to his class reunion for the graduating class of college, Williams College. He had been out 25 years, he was going to their reunion.
71 or
81. And how did the president travel in those days?
Very.
No, God, not long distances. No, come on.
Train.
Train, railroad, right? So, he arrives for the reunion, and he's walking through a reception room in the railway station, and some stranger fires 2 pistol shots at him, crying out, "I am a stalwart, and Arthur is president now." So as President Garfield is attending his 25th college reunion, he's in a railway station, he's in a reception room, a strange man comes up, takes 2 pistol shots at Garfield, yelling, "I am a stalwart, and Arthur is president now." The assassin, Charles J. Guiteau, was immediately arrested and charged with the president's murder. Well, at first he was actually charged with his attempted murder. That's so the assassin will turn out to be Charles J. Guiteau. Doesn't really sound like it's spelled. He was immediately arrested and charged with the attempted murder of President Garfield. How many shots fired? 2. 1 bullet barely grazed his arm, but the other one lodged deep into his back, and surgeons could not find the bullet, because this is a long time ago, not like today. So 1 bullet barely grazed his arm, the other bullet fired by Guiteau lodged deep into his back, and the surgeons could not find the bullet. Guess who they brought in to try to find it? Very famous inventor, Alexander Graham Bell. He had this special kind of electric listening device, and he tried to locate the bullet with that because it was lead, and he couldn't get it. He couldn't find it. But they actually brought in Alexander Graham Bell and some special device he had invented. Well, kind of, only it was based kind of on sound. And it was because the bullet was lead. I don't know exactly. It didn't work very good, obviously, because they didn't find it. Now, this was kind of interesting because President Garfield laid in bed with that bullet near his spine for 80 days. 80 days. He laid in bed with that bullet near his spine. They couldn't find it. Because they didn't have x-ray technicians like they do today and all that.
So,
He laid in bed 80 days. Well, according to historians, he was fairly calm during those 80 days. He was pretty cheerful during those 80 days. But laying on your back for 80 days is a formula for catching what?
that's,
What catching an infection. And that's what he did. He caught an infection. And he didn't survive the infection. He died on September 19th, 1881. So, President Garfield remained calm and cheerful throughout this ordeal, according to historians. But finally, infection set in because the bullet had been in there too long. They couldn't find it.
1881.
And he died on September 19th, 1881, and was buried in Cleveland, Ohio. There, I'm just about there. Now, historians will note that if we had the X-ray machine and some sort of modern antiseptics at that time, he probably would have lived through that assassination attempt without any problem. Charles Guiteau goes to trial. He absolutely acts like a madman the whole trial because his attorney wants to plead innocent by reason of insanity, not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay? And the trial actually lasts like 10 weeks, but the verdict only took about an hour. And he was convicted and hanged by the neck until dead in 1882.
Wait, so the trial lasted 10 weeks, but what lasted an hour?
Just when they went to get the verdict from the jury, it only lasted like an hour.
It's a jury ring.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty obvious. So he was sentenced to hang, which occurred in 1882. Now, I'll finish with this. Vice President Chester Arthur assumes the presidency, right? And that was interesting because his wife died in 1880. He was a widower. So as a result, there was no first lady during the Arthur presidency. No first lady. And he becomes the 21st president of the United States. Now tomorrow we'll tell you whether he follows Garfield's plans as president or he gets his own agenda. Because is he going to be re-elected, do you think? No. But will he try to do his own thing because he's a stalwart, or will he continue to do the things that Garfield was doing? All right, how many you got here, Dave? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 26.